All right, next is tracking. So you're doing all this work to run all these ads. You probably should know if it's actually working and worth your time and worth your money. The first thing that we always make sure that we do when we get a campaign going is we set up conversion tracking. And conversion tracking is, all right, these people clicked, these people filled out the form. So we know out of the clicks, how many people actually converted to a lead, right? They filled out the form or they picked up the phone and set an appointment. Having that data, you can actually then talk back to Google with that data and say, hey, this person came through and went all the way through our funnel. So then Google learns who those people are and shows your ad to more people that are more likely to convert, right? But you have to have that set up. Typically, you do that through Google Tag Manager. That's the system that we use. This is a free service that Google gives you. You simply add a conversion tag inside the tag manager, and it talks back to that system and says, this person clicked and made it all the way through, or picked up the phone and called, whatever it happens to do. Definitely make sure that you have some sort of conversion tracking in place, because if not, you got 100 clicks, but and you might even know how many people filled out the form out of that 100 clicks, but Google doesn't know that. And therefore you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot with potential future budget. So definitely worth having that set up. Also have call tracking set up. So if you have a phone number on your landing page, make sure that is a phone number that you can track. Typically, these are generated numbers that just forward to your regular phone line, but you can specifically know that if somebody dialed this number, the only place I'm showing this phone number is on this landing page. So I know that this landing page caused this phone call to come in, this lead. So definitely have that. And again, some of these call tracking systems will actually talk back to Google Tag Manager and say, this became a good lead. You can also add contact tags in the system to make sure that you know if these people are past customers. So if you have a CRM system or something, make sure that you're putting those into your CRM system. Our CRM system, our lead handling system, is called Lead Boomerang. It does a lot more than just the CRM component. It has a lot more pieces to it. But it does this kind of stuff where it adds them as a contact record so that you can watch them all the way through the sales process. All right. Most important KPIs or key performance indicators. The easy one, total spend. You want to know how much you spent, right? How much was your average cost per click? So every time somebody clicked on your ad, how much did that cost you? It doesn't necessarily mean that turned into a customer. It just meant they clicked on your ad. Your ad was written well enough that they wanted to click on it. And then from there, you can figure out what is your cost per lead. And this is the big one. You have to figure out what that is across multiple different things, depending on what you're giving them the option to do. Is it to fill out a form? Is it to pick up the phone? Do you have a chat widget on your landing page that maybe people are just using the chat widget? But each of those cost per leads might be a little different from each other. Now, it obviously goes up and down depending on what you're doing. Having some sort of a dashboard is great so that you can look at this over time. But when it comes to the end of the day, ROI is what it's all about. If I put $1 in and $3 came out in revenue, that's great. Then who was that earlier that said, Daniel, $1,000 a month? If you're putting $1 in and 3 or 5 or 10 come out every time you do that, then that $1,000 doesn't look so bad, right? You'd be like, well, I'll spend $2,000, I'll spend $5,000, right? If you know that you've got a system that's going to do that consistently, then it doesn't really necessarily matter what that budget is. But it's obviously very important to know that there is a return on what you're doing. And that's, again, where Google is really good at getting people to just put money in there, put your credit card in, and blow through that budget and probably get little to nothing out of it. The only downside to them doing that is obviously they're not going to come back, right? Everybody says, oh yeah, I tried that, it didn't work. Well, it does work, but it doesn't just turn itself on and start working, as you guys have probably seen today. So